AITA for calling off the wedding after her viral TikTok about me? My name is Derek Harlan. I am 36 years old, and I am an auto mechanic. Not at a dealership, but at my own shop. A small place in the Maryvale neighborhood that I inherited from my father when he retired. It has 2 bays, a compressor that sounds like a jet taking off, and a hand-painted sign that says Harlan's Auto Repair, Honest Service. I work from Monday to Saturday. On Sundays, I wash my tools, do the accounting, and sometimes go with my brother Justin to eat at a local diner on Central Avenue that has been there since before I was born. Haley Bennett was 29 years old. She worked in human resources for a packaging company in the industrial park. She was pretty, talkative. One of those people who make everyone turn their heads when they walk into a room. I liked her from the day I met her at a holiday party at her cousin's place. She was sitting on a folding chair drinking soda, and I was leaning against a wall, not knowing what to do with my hands. She spoke to me first. I liked that even more. We had been together for 3.5 years. 2 of those living in an apartment we rented in the Peoria area near the shopping center. It was a small apartment, but with a balcony on a 3rd floor without an elevator. I would carry the groceries up on Saturday afternoons while she played music on the Bluetooth speaker and organized the fridge. That routine made me happy in a way I cannot explain. Haley was affectionate when she wanted to be and blunt when she felt watched. She had a way of communicating that depended entirely on who was listening. With me, she was direct, sometimes too much so. With her family, she was sweet, cheerful, the perfect daughter. With her friends, she was a different person, sarcastic, competitive, always measuring who had more, who went further, who looked better. And on social media, she was a 4th version, funny, spontaneous, with that ability to turn any moment into content. I do not have social media. I had Facebook for a while and deactivated it because I found no point in it. I do not like being recorded. I do not like having my picture taken without warning. I told her that many times, and she always gave the same reply. Do not be a clown, Derek. You are not famous. As if the problem was fame and not respect. The TikTok incident happened on a Saturday night. We were at her parents' house in Avondale, at a cookout her mom organized for her younger brother Connor's birthday. The house had a large fenced backyard, a brick grill her dad built himself, and a picnic table with mismatched chairs. There were about 25 people, beer, chips and salsa, potato salad. Everything was going well. I was sitting in a corner eating a burger when I noticed Haley holding her phone in a weird position, like pointing it at me without really pointing it. I did not think much of it. At 11 o'clock at night, when almost everyone had had a few too many drinks, she stood on a chair and said she wanted to make a toast for Connor. Everyone clapped. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. And I also toast to my future husband, who is sitting right there looking like people owe him money. The family laughed. I smiled because I did not know what else to do. She kept going. That is just how he is, all serious, all bitter. If you say something nice to him, he answers with a grunt. But I love him anyway, even though sometimes I want to return him to the garage where I found him. More laughter. Her mom said, "Oh, honey," between laughs. Her cousin Kayla almost choked on her beer. I felt something that was not anger. It was something deeper. Like when you put your hand in water thinking it is warm, and it turns out to be burning hot. I did not say anything. I finished my burger, got up, washed my plate in the kitchen, and stood there for a while watching the stream of water fall on the dish. The next day I discovered it was not just a toast. It was a video. Haley had recorded everything from her chair with her phone and uploaded it to TikTok with background music and text that read, "What is it like being engaged to the most serious man in Arizona?" The video featured my face in close-up while she spoke. I looked uncomfortable, chewing, unaware I was being recorded. In 24 hours, it had 30,000 views. The comments were the worst part. People who did not know me wrote things like, "Poor thing, he does not even know. With that face, there is no way he is not like that. That man looks so whipped. If he is like this as a boyfriend, imagine him as a husband." Haley replied to some with laughing emojis. She had pinned a comment that said, "It is because mechanics are always angry since everyone else's car runs better than their own," to which she replied, "Ha ha ha, literally." I found the video because Justin sent it to me. A simple message. "Brother, have you seen this?" Along with the link. I watched it twice. The first time my face felt hot. The second time I felt cold. I did not text Haley. I put my phone away and went to the shop. It was Sunday, but I needed to be in a place that made sense to me. I arrived at the shop at 8 in the morning. It smelled of burnt oil and damp metal, as always. I sat on the little stool where my father used to sit and smoke. And I stared at the tools hanging on the wall pegboard. Wrenches, sockets, pliers, everything in its place. My dad taught me that. Every tool has its hook, and every hook has its tool. If something is out of place, something is wrong. Haley was out of place. She had been out of place for months, and I did not want to see it. I spent 3 hours at the shop without doing anything productive. I cleaned a transmission that was already clean. I organized invoices that were already in order. At 11, I got a message from her. "Hey, are you coming over to eat?" My mom made chili. As if nothing happened, as if 30,000 people had not seen my face used as a joke. I did not answer. At 1 in the afternoon, she sent another one. "Are you mad about the video?" "No, Derek, it is a TikTok." That phrase, "it is a TikTok." She repeated it whenever I said something about her posts, as if the format excused the content. As if the fact that it was short made it harmless. I got to the apartment at 3 o'clock. She was in the living room watching a TV show with a bag of chips and a glass of sweet tea. She looked at me and said, "There is the serious guy." She smiled. She expected me to smile too. I sat across from her and told her, in the flattest voice I could manage, that I wanted her to delete the video. I did not yell. I did not raise my voice. I just said she recorded me without my permission, exposed me in front of thousands of strangers, and used me as material for people to laugh at. She rolled her eyes. She told me I was exaggerating, that it was couples content. That all her friends did the same thing, that her followers even loved me. "I made you famous. You should thank me." I asked her if she would find it funny if I recorded a video making fun of her and uploaded it for 30,000 strangers to judge. She said it was different because she knew how to handle it, and I did not. I asked her what that meant. She replied that I was too sensitive to understand social media. That was when the hallway incident happened. She went to the kitchen to talk on the phone with her cousin Kayla. I stayed seated, processing the conversation. Then I got up to go to the bathroom and heard them from the hallway. "Did you see how many likes it has?" Kayla said on speaker. "Girl, just delete it," Haley replied, but laughing as if the idea amused her. "Why, if it is funny?" "No, the thing is Derek is acting like a clown. He says I humiliated him. Imagine, he does not even look bad. He just looks exactly how he is, serious and boring." Kayla burst out laughing. Haley did too. I was standing 10 feet away. They had not seen me. When Haley turned her head and found me there, she did not get scared. She did not even lower the phone. She smiled like someone who knows they did something and does not care. That smile told me everything words could not. No. I went into the bedroom without saying anything. I closed the door, sat on the bed, and stayed there for a while listening to the heartbeat in my own ears. It was not anger. It was clarity. That kind of clarity that arrives when you stop negotiating with what you already know. I slept on the couch that night, not out of drama, but because I had no desire to be near her. At 6 in the morning, I got up, took a shower, and went to the shop. At 8, I sent a message to the owner of the venue in Tempe. I explained that the event was canceled. He replied in 10 minutes, very professional. He told me the deposit was non-refundable. I said that was fine. Then I called the tailor, asked the old man to hold off on the suit, that I was not going to need it anymore. There was silence on the other end. Then he said, "Okay, young man. I will keep it here in case you change your mind." I was not going to change my mind. The next step was the apartment. I checked the lease agreement. It was in both our names, but I paid the deposit and the bills came out of my account. I went to the landlord, a man from the nicer part of town who owns 3 properties and always smells like fresh coffee. I explained the situation to him. He told me I could move out with a 2-month penalty fee. I signed that same afternoon. Haley knew nothing about this. While I was dismantling the future we had planned, she was still making TikToks in the living room. She uploaded a new one that morning. A duet with an audio about couples who do not understand each other. And she put a text that said, "When your boyfriend gets mad about a video but does not tell you he loves you in public." 100 likes in 3 hours. The comments supported her. That is how men are. They want you to stay quiet, babe. You deserve someone who celebrates you, not someone who silences you. I read all that sitting in the shop with my hands full of grease and a half-eaten sandwich. What surprised me was not the comments. It was that she was building a narrative where I was the villain for asking for respect. And she was doing it in real time in front of thousands of witnesses who only knew her version. On Wednesday night, I moved out. I waited for Haley to go to a dinner with her friends. Justin arrived with his pickup truck. We packed my things in 2 hours. It was not much. Clothes, personal tools, my laptop, the shop documents, a blender I bought at the department store, and an old pillow I have had since I was 20. I left everything that was hers or ours. I did not touch the living room furniture, the dishes, or the curtains. I left the ring on the dining room table. Inside a manila envelope along with a copy of the venue cancellation receipt. No letter, no note, no explanation, just the facts. Justin did not say anything while we loaded the boxes. He is like that. He does not speak unless he has something worth saying. Once in the truck, driving toward his house where I was going to stay for a few days, he asked me, "Are you sure?" I told him yes. He nodded and turned up the radio volume. Haley got to the apartment at 1 in the morning. I know because at 1:04 she started calling. 7 calls in a row, then messages. The first, "What did you do?" The second, "Where are your things?" The third, "Derek, this is not normal. You are scaring me." The fourth, "Is it because of the TikTok?" Seriously? I did not answer any of them. I blocked her number, her social media accounts, the few I had. And I went to sleep on Justin's sofa bed with my conscience clearer than I had felt in months. The next morning, Justin's phone rang early. It was Haley's mom. She told him her daughter was hysterical, that I had disappeared, to please tell me to go talk to her. Justin told her I was fine and that it was my decision. He hung up. He looked at me. "She is going to keep at it," he said. He was right. Over the next 48 hours, Haley did what she knew how to do best, turn a private problem into a public narrative. She uploaded a crying TikTok. Not the ugly, real crying, but pretty crying with the camera angled, a sad song in the background. And a text that read, "When you give everything and they leave you without an explanation." 47,000 views in 2 days. The comments were a chorus of support. "Queen, you do not need anyone who does not value your light. That man will beg you, you will see. Men run away when strong women intimidate them." She replied with little hearts and phrases of gratitude. They even sent her virtual gifts. I saw all this from Justin's phone, as he would sometimes show me things without me asking. Not out of morbid curiosity, but for information. I wanted to know what version was circulating. Haley's version was this: "I left without warning, without reason, without explanation." She mentioned the original video as an innocent little joke and painted me as someone who could not take a joke. She never mentioned that I asked her to delete it. She never mentioned that she laughed at me with her cousin after I told her how I felt. She never mentioned the video where she compared me to a boring piece of furniture. What she did mention was that I left her the ring and the cancellation papers as if it were an administrative procedure. She repeated that phrase in 3 different videos. As if it were an administrative procedure, and people embraced her for it. But the narrative began to crack at the edges. First it was Connor, her own brother, who told her in a family group text that the cookout video had been wrong, that he saw it in the moment and felt uncomfortable. That making fun of your partner in front of the whole family and then posting it online was not normal. Haley replied with a long voice message telling him to mind his own business. He left the group. Next was a coworker who commented on a TikTok something like, "But the video was pretty harsh, friend." Haley deleted the comment in minutes, but someone screenshotted it and reposted it. It did not go viral, but people saw it. 2 weeks later, Mrs. Irene Walsh, the lady who cuts my mom's hair at the local beauty salon, ran into me buying groceries and told me, "Just like that, my boy. I saw the video and I saw the others, and what that girl did to you was very ugly." She did not ask me for an explanation. She did not give me advice. She just said that and kept walking with her grocery bags. Haley tried to contact me through her mom, Kayla, and a mutual friend who works at a hardware store on Central Avenue. They all had the same script. She just wants to talk. She says she apologizes. She says it was a joke. I told them all the same thing, that the relationship was over and there was nothing to discuss. The last attempt was in person. She showed up at the shop on a Thursday at noon. She arrived in an Uber, dressed nicely, with her hair done and her eyes swollen. She stood at the entrance of the shop and said, "Can we talk for 5 minutes?" I was under a truck replacing a shock absorber. I slid out, wiped my hands with a rag that smelled of solvent, and told her no, that there were no 5 minutes. That everything she needed to know was in the manila envelope I left on the table. She stood there for a while. Then she said something that confirmed to me she never understood a thing. All this over a video, Derek? A 30-second video? No, it was not over a 30-second video. It was over choosing the laughter of 30,000 strangers over the dignity of the person you were going to marry. It was over making fun of me, asking me to accept it, and when I said no, turning me into the antagonist of her story. It was over preferring an audience to a conversation. I told her to leave. She left. The venue in Tempe had already booked the date for another event. The tailor sold the suit to someone else. The landlord rented the apartment in Peoria to a young couple with a baby. I saw them one day when I was walking down the street to buy screws at a corner hardware store. There were baby clothes hanging on my old balcony. Haley stopped posting 3 weeks after I left. Her TikTok account is still active, but the last video is dated a month ago. The comments of support became sporadic and then disappeared. Her cousin Kayla stopped interacting with her posts. Connor sent me a brief message. "You did the right thing, buddy." I did not answer him, but I was grateful for it. I found out later through Justin that Haley had to look for a roommate to pay the rent. That she got a girl from her work and things were tense. That she sold a living room set we bought together at a furniture store on the main avenue. And that the money was enough for 2 months of expenses. I felt no pleasure or pity. I felt that it was no longer my story. Now I live in a room I rent near the shop in the Maryvale neighborhood. It is small. It has a window that looks out onto an alley and a bathroom with old tiles. It smells of dampness when it rains, which in Phoenix is often during the monsoon season. I have my clothes hanging on a pipe, my personal tools in a box, a griddle where I make eggs in the morning, and my old pillow. I do not need more. The shop remains the same. The compressor still sounds like a jet taking off. The sign is still there. Customers arrive. They leave their car. I fix it. They pay. They leave. That simplicity comforts me in a way I did not appreciate before. Justin comes on Sundays for burgers. Sometimes he brings his wife Megan and his 4-year-old son, who likes to climb into the cars at the shop and pretend to drive. The last time he asked me, "Uncle, why do you not have your own car?" I told him because I fix other people's cars. He laughed as if it were the best joke in the world. One night, around 10 o'clock, I was closing the shop when the phone rang. Unknown number. I answered by reflex. It was Haley. She had gotten another number. She told me she just wanted to say she was sorry, that she did not realize what she was doing, that the TikTok got out of hand, that she truly loved me. I told her I believed she was sorry, and that the relationship was still over. There was a long silence. Then she hung up. I put the shop key in my pocket. I walked 3 blocks to my room. The night smelled of wet earth because it had rained in the afternoon. That Phoenix smell that is like water falling on hot concrete. I made myself instant coffee in a mug that says Arizona is home, which I bought at a local flea market, and I sat in my plastic chair by the window. I do not have a balcony. I do not have a living room. I do not have someone filming me without permission so that thousands of people can give their opinion on whether I am fun enough to deserve company. What I have is silence, and silence, when you choose it, does not weigh you down. There is something that kept spinning in my head a long time after all this. It was not the video itself. It was the ease with which Haley chose, because that is what it was, a choice. She had the moment to decide between deleting 30 seconds of content or deleting a 3-year commitment, and she chose the 30 seconds. I do not think she is a bad person. I think she lives in a system where likes feel like love and where your partner's silence weighs less than the noise of 1,000 strangers clapping. I think she convinced herself that I was the problem because that was easier than accepting she crossed a line. And I think that when that line became obvious to others, her brother, her co-worker, Mrs. Irene Walsh at the salon, the narrative she had built collapsed on top of her like a sheet metal roof in a storm. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been different if I had yelled. If I had caused a scene at the cookout, if I had uploaded my own video telling my side of the story. Probably not, because the problem was never the volume. It was the direction. She spoke outwards. I needed her to speak inwards, toward us. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.